You cannot live in a Bitcoin. And it's a problem that I'm working
Yeah.
on currently.
Yep.
So you've decided to buy some land, you decided to go debt free, you decided to get set up on that land debt free. Just talk me through the decision making process. Like, how did you find it? Why was that what you wanted to do? And how do you feel having gone through it?
Sure. Well, my wife and I, not so much right now, but we have traveled extensively over the last 3 years. And before that, both of us traveled relatively extensively. I lived overseas for over 7 years in Asia and the Middle East. And my wife traveled back and forth from Sweden to the US. And then after getting married, we traveled to over 35 states, just exploring,
Cool.
doing business, having a great time. And but we got to the point where it's like, okay, we want to have babies. We need a place to like we need a place to camp permanently, or at
Yeah.
least for like maybe 10 years. And
Yeah.
so we had looked all over the country, and we hadn't really found a place that we liked. But one of my driving values is what works, as opposed to just merely cooperating with people. I love people, but sometimes people are dumb, and cooperating in dumb circumstances is a bad idea. And
Mm.
so at one point, we traveled into Arizona, and one of the nuggets that I caught from Samson Moe at one point, he was describing how his spiel when he's talking to, like, I guess, heads of state or something to that effect. He would say that Bitcoin is money, and I'm missing something, but if you have abundant energy, you are wealthy because a nation state can tap their hydro, geothermal, et
Yeah.
cetera,
And
energy
then
sources.
and get paid in Bitcoin. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then mine. But that caught on for me because I'd been working on my own solar and power production over the course of years and learning how to build solar systems. And
Cool.
in a nutshell, when we drove into Arizona and I see this wide open, flat spaces that's drenched in sunshine over 300 days a year, I'm going, well, yeah, maybe getting land here is a good idea. Like, we want to live in forest and in Montana or something like that, but we're just going, the sun here is so good. The energy abundance here is amazing. And
Mm.
since we're into passive income, I can tap that energy source. So we ended up, long story short, getting just over an acre, not very big, but just over an acre in Kingman, Arizona. And I won't give you our address, but there's
No,
lots
no,
of
no
desert.
worries.
And
Cool.
but when we found this land, it was very inexpensive, but still had access to town. And then over the preceding like 2 years, because we bought the land just over a year ago, our Bitcoin had appreciated, like, doubled in fiat terms. And so we're looking at this inexpensive land, and I'm going, well, on 1 acre, and I ran the numbers, I could, if I max out the solar on this, I could produce like $800 a day in Bitcoin, or like today it'd be like 800,000 sats a day if I maximize this.
Mm.
And uh, and
Wow.
so I'm going, we don't need 40 acres. We don't need, I'm thinking 100, 1,000 acres. No, I don't need that. I could do, I can generate tremendous income and not need to pay for the electricity, which is like going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest expense on an acre
Wow.
of sun drenched land. And our piece of land happens to be like very well situated for sunshine because the mountains around us draw the clouds away. And so a lot of times we're in sun when the mountains are not, some of the mountains near us. And, and I talked to God about it, and God gave me a good feeling about it. So, like, based on the practicality and our spirituality, I went for it, and we went for it.
Awesome.
And so we've built out a relatively large solar system, and that enables us to mine practically 24 hours a day, in addition to supporting a lot of our household needs. And um, and we've only tapped like a fraction of the potential of this land.
Wow. So that is an unbelievably cool explanation of a series of things that weren't previously possible being pulled together at once for your benefit. And the things I'm referring to being
Yeah.
solar energy, right? The technology to have solar panels has become accessible to the retail market, and Bitcoin. And you are
Yeah.
essentially, you are
Yeah.
monetizing stranded energy as a private investor,
Yes.
which is what I
Exactly.
particularly love, right?
Yeah.
You've basically come along, you've taken all these
It's so
things off
fun.
the shelf, put them together. And so actually, in some ways, I'm thinking of it like this. When you go to look for land, can you monetize the land with Bitcoin mining somehow? And instead of saying, "Oh, look, I'm going to put an annex on the garage and I'm going to run an Airbnb business and try and get some tourists to come
Right.
through for yield
Yeah.
on my land,"
Exactly.
or I'm going to have
Yeah.
like, start growing wine or become some kind of farmer. It's like, no, you could actually use the sunshine should you choose to set up in a specific place.
Yeah.
What an awesome
Yeah. It's
story.
amazing.
And Levi, I think, forgive me for bringing this up, but it's, well, not forgive me. This is a key part of it. The mining that you're doing is not specific Bitcoin mining, but you're getting paid in Bitcoin. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so people will, the Bitcoin only mantra is very, very important. Do not get me wrong. Like, there's only going to be one future base layer of money, and it's
Right.
Bitcoin. It is not altcoins. But
Yeah.
creating capital
Exactly.
to then plow into Bitcoin is fair game. Now, you could be trading interest rate swaps. You could be selling, ham from your local farm. You could be selling your time as a
Yeah.
coach. You could be
Exactly.
doing anything to accumulate Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I applaud that. Like, what you basically said, that's the shit you want to own. How do you get more of that shit? Okay, I've figured out a way of doing it.